Welcome back to the channel, everyone. I am the Maize Man. Before we get started, hit the like and subscribe button for me and the notification bell so you're aware every time I upload a video. In today's video, we're talking about Oregon and Washington being, quote, vetted for the Big Ten and ready to go. Also, we'll be discussing Blake Coram and the advice he got, the surprising advice he got from head coach Jim Harbaugh after his knee injury, plus Michigan recruiting the two guys at Belleville. Yes, we're talking Bryce Underwood. Yes, we're talking Jeremiah Beasley, all that. And of course, I'm upset having the other state versus Lil Bro Nim as the primetime game in place of Michigan and Penn State in a potential whiteout is disrespect. But thank you. Let's get right into it. Michigan will travel to Happy Valley November 11th for their scheduled matchup with Penn State. However, it won't be, and what many believed it would be, a whiteout. It will not be a primetime matchup between the two schools this season, as NBC has elected to take the Michigan State-Ohio State game for the primetime matchup in place of Michigan and Penn State, which is a bit disrespectful. Obviously, Michigan-Penn State is a bigger game, if you ask me, than Lil Bro Nim and the other state. However, it works out because Michigan, under Jim Harbaugh, is 2-2 when traveling to Happy Valley, 5-3 overall against Penn State. But the both losses came during night matchups with Penn State, and both wins in 2015 and 2021 came in daytime matches, or games rather. So the thinking is that Fox will be the ones to get the game, and it'll be the big noon countdown game. Of course, nothing is etched in stone just yet, so when we hear more, I will be sure to get that to you. But in a roundabout way, it kind of worked out in Michigan's favor this time. Moving right along. According to an article written by Pete Mundo of Heartland College Sports, it seems that Oregon and Washington have been, quote, vetted and cleared to join the Big Ten. What does this mean exactly? No one really knows, except for that they are on the back burner, kind of in a purgatory, if you will, a holding phase right now as other things play out. Now, what those other things is, of course, the Pac-12 is crumbling right before our eyes. We all know that. USC and UCLA will be joining the Big Ten Conference next year. Of course, that leaves a huge void, as both of those schools are massive attention getters and money getters for the Pac-12. The Pac-12 commissioner is trying to work out a TV deal that makes sense for them, and they want it to be in the range of around $30 million per member institution. And as things stand right now, that does not look like it is going to happen. Some other things some other dominoes rather that need to fall include Colorado and Arizona. Apparently, the Big Ten and our commissioner doesn't want the blood on our hands in terms of being the reason the Pac-12 dies, right? So if Colorado and Arizona were to leave and join the Big 12, I think it's open sesame and everybody is free game pretty much, and to cannibalize what's left of the Pac-12. And of course, two of those institutions being Oregon and Washington, probably the two most coveted outside of USC and UCLA, would probably go to the Big Ten. Of course, that still leaves Stanford, who, if for nothing else, because we know their football has been in the toilet the last few seasons, but if for nothing else, their academics are definitely on par with the top level Big Ten schools. So maybe Stanford gets a look, and maybe this forces those guys over in South Bend to make a move too. So we'll see exactly how it all plays out. But right now, it looks like it's kind of just in a holding phase, and it's waiting basically on moves to be made from the Big 12 in terms of allowing Arizona and Colorado in, if that's what they choose to do. Now, another thing, and somebody brought this up to me, another thing is, what if, Washington and Oregon decide to stay put? I know Oregon's governor and even the last governor have said that they don't want Oregon to join the Big Ten, so maybe they make some sort of move to try to keep them out of the Big Ten and keep the Pac-12 together. And if that's the case, then I'm sure the fans over at Oregon have no problem being the new Clemson in a weak conference. So we'll see how it all plays out. But right now, they are, quote, vetted and cleared to join the Big Ten. I'll keep you updated as more information becomes available. Before we get into our next segment, be sure to hit the like and subscribe button. It doesn't cost you a penny to be a little friendly. We're trying to grow the channel to be as big as it possibly can be. I appreciate each and every one of you for taking the time out of your day to listen to me talk about Michigan. Moving right along. In some surprising news, Jim Harbaugh recommended that star running back Blake Coram go to the NFL after his knee injury. I almost said surgery, but after his knee injury against Illinois, Jim Harbaugh recommended that he go to the NFL instead of returning to Ann Arbor. Blake Coram actually spoke about it. He said, quote, "That was the last ride. That was going to be it for me," he said in an interview with the 33rd team. Obviously, we had to go play Ohio State the following week, but when it comes to being at Michigan and being at the big house, that was it. So when I laced them up and then ran out and hit that flag, that was supposed to be it. And by that, he means it for his Michigan career. He went on to say, he said, "Get the surgery." Speaking of Harbaugh now, talking to him, Harbaugh advised him to get the surgery. Coram also went on to say, he said, "Coach, what would you do?" And he said, "I would go to the league." So that is Jim Harbaugh's quote to Blake Coram last season, after Blake Coram, of course, injured his knee in an unfortunate situation against Illinois in a huge game, actually, a game that Michigan struggled to find any offense in, especially after Blake Coram went down. So that's a bit surprising. I did not think that that's what Jim would say, but also that is a testament to Jim and him being looking out for his guys first, of course, right? Wanting Blake Coram to strike while the iron was hot, pretty much, and his stock was really high, in terms of maybe as high as it was going to be at that position for the NFL draft. But of course, Blake saw a bigger picture, decided to come back for one more season with the Wolverines, and I got to tell you, I'm happy he did. Forming that two-headed monster that is going to be Blake Coram and Donovan Edwards in that backfield is going to go a long way. And what Michigan is trying to accomplish this year in terms of the goals, the team goals, and things like that. So Blake Coram coming back really is a huge win for Michigan in the end. Since landing the commitment of Jaden Davis in the 2024 class, the apple of Michigan's eye has been in-state quarterback Bryce Underwood. Bryce is number one in the state of Michigan. He is the number one quarterback in the entire country. He is the number 3 overall prospect in the entire country in the class of 2025. This is going to be the biggest recruitment in recent Michigan history. Bigger than Rashawn Gary, bigger than Jabril Peppers, bigger than even Dante Moore and CJ Carr. Here's the thing. I don't need to go over the history. Michigan lost out on top talent, in-state top talent over the last couple years. There's Dante Moore. There's CJ Carr. Look no further than that. Right now, Michigan seems to be in pretty decent position. And by decent, I mean the pole position for in-state linebacker Jeremiah Beasley, the number 2 player in the state of Michigan in the 2024 class, of course, because the number one player in the state of Michigan in the 2024 class is CJ Carr, who decided to take his talent to South Bend, which is beyond absurd. But anyway, Lloyd, you are still welcome in Ann Arbor. Leave CJ where he's at, though. That being said, in 2025, Michigan has to, I repeat, has to land Bryce Underwood. This kid is phenomenal. We've seen the video. We've seen the tape. I've shown it several times here on the channel. We've talked about it in the comment section. Nothing changes. It's all about getting this kid in 2025. And if Michigan is able to do that, then the future is so bright for the Wolverines. And this would be the biggest commitment, I want to say, in Michigan history. I don't want to be super hyperbolic about this, so I'm going to reserve that for right now. But this is right up there. And he is only a 15-year-old kid. And I know that there's a lot of pressure. He's got to be dealing with a lot of things right now. But anyway, let's get into it. Bryce Underwood has been speaking very highly of Michigan quarterback coach Kirk Campbell. His father thinks very highly of Kirk Campbell. In fact, Kirk Campbell is the reason that Bryce Underwood plans on making several visits to Ann Arbor. You heard me right. Several visits to Ann Arbor in the spring and summer this year. Kirk Campbell and Bryce Young talk about things like the offense that Bryce Young runs at his high school, which is similar to Michigan's offense, which would make it like fitting a glove when it's time for him to commit, by the way. Kirk Campbell is my favorite recruiter on the Michigan staff right now. And yes, it has a lot to do with him landing Jaden Davis. And yes, it has even more so to do with him being the apple of Bryce Underwood's eye right now. I'm not going to lie. He's the apple of my eye right now for those reasons. Kirk Campbell is a guy that when he got the job, I was not a fan of, mostly because I didn't know Kirk Campbell. I wanted T. Martin. I wanted Brian Greasy. I wanted anybody but Kirk Campbell, and Jim Harbaugh saw something that I didn't see, obviously, that a number of people in the fan base didn't see in Kirk Campbell, and hired Kirk Campbell, which anything is better than Weiss, right? Which I've run out of computer jokes, but anything is better than that. Apparently he was a robot when talking to these kids, and Kirk Campbell actually has a piece of a personality, so there's that. But Kirk Campbell is doing such a phenomenal job in his recruitment of Bryce Underwood, which I don't understand how any of the top guys get out of the state of Michigan without Michigan being the prime reason why. And of course, that probably has been the reason why, if I'm being honest. Matt Weiss obviously was not impressing Dante Moore. He didn't impress CJ Carr, but what CJ Carr did was unforgivable in my opinion, but that's neither here nor there. But Kirk Campbell has impressed Bryce Underwood. By the way, Matt Weiss had not impressed Bryce Underwood before that. Matt Weiss had not impressed Jaden Davis and his family before that. Kirk Campbell is the reason that we have a 5-star quarterback in the 2024 class. Kirk Campbell is the reason that we will have the best quarterback in the 2025 class. Book it. That being said, all the quarterback talk, I'm going to go ahead and give you guys my favorite Michigan quarterback. This is just what they did at Michigan, nothing beyond, and that is Chad Henne. Chad Henne was my favorite Michigan quarterback. In the comment section, tell me who you guys' favorite Michigan quarterback of all time is. Let's keep it going. We have reached that time in the video where I must bid you adieu. Of course, stay angry, my friends. I'm upset.
Ladies and gentlemen, this might be your best